All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Welcome. Today we are unpacking something absolutely fascinating. We're looking at the summer solstice, but definitely not just as a date on the calendar or the official start of summer. We are going to explore its deep symbolic meaning using the wisdom of the observant craft. If you've ever wondered how these massive celestial movements can actually serve as a direct metaphor for your own personal growth and internal harmony, well, you're in exactly the right place. We've got a really great journey ahead of us today. To set the stage, let's just start with the literal, astronomical facts of the longest day of the year. We need to establish a baseline of understanding before we dive deeper. Usually hitting right around June 20th or 21st in the Northern Hemisphere, the summer solstice is that precise moment the sun reaches its absolute highest point in the sky. It marks the longest day and, inversely, the shortest night of the entire year. It's a scientific reality, right? It's a baseline that humanity has tracked for literally thousands of years. But as you'll see, observing the mere fact of the solstice is really only the first step. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between two completely different ways of looking at this exact same celestial event. On the left, you've got the everyday world, which is often referred to in Masonic tradition as the profane world. They just see an astronomical event, a longer day, maybe an excuse for a summer cookout. But on the right side, to the observant Mason, this same event is a profound, awe-inspiring reminder. It's seen as direct evidence of an undeniable order, harmony, and cosmic rhythm governing all of creation. It takes the solstice from a simple scientific fact and turns it into a rich, living symbol. Section 1. The astronomical and sacred. Way before digital calendars or atomic clocks, ancient mankind intuitively understood the sun's movements. Think about the alignments at Stonehenge or the Great Pyramids of Egypt. These ancient cultures intentionally aligned their grandest monuments perfectly with the sun. The solstices served as absolutely crucial markers of time. They were indicators of changing seasons, vital guides for agricultural harvests, and they literally dictated the timing for sacred festivals. These ancients recognized that even though everything down here on Earth seems to be in a constant state of chaos and change, there is an underlying, immutable order governing the entire universe. And here is where the celestial becomes deeply, deeply personal. Think about it. The celestial bodies move according to unbreakable laws. The sun never rushes and it's never running late, right? It just performs its duty with absolute, unwavering faithfulness. The source material draws a direct, awe-inspiring lesson from this. Just as the sun follows its appointed path without hastening or delaying, so should we faithfully pursue our moral improvement. It's just a brilliant metaphor. The consistency of the cosmos is the exact standard we are challenged to apply to our own duties and our own personal growth. Section 2. Light in Ancient Traditions. In the traditions of the craft, the very first thing a candidate seeks is light. Not wealth, not power, but intellectual, moral, and spiritual illumination. And the summer solstice represents the ultimate triumph of that light over darkness. But within this massive triumph lies a subtle, hidden warning, a paradox. Every ascent contains the seed of decline if vigilance is lost. At the exact triumphant moment the sun reaches its absolute greatest height and power, its gradual decline towards the dark, cold winter immediately begins. Nature itself is teaching us here that no height of success, no title, no honor guarantees continued growth. The work of self-improvement is literally never finished. Because if we lose our vigilance right at the peak of our success, the decline is already well underway. Section 3. St. John and True Humility. In the traditions of Freemasonry, Saint John the Baptist is deeply, intrinsically linked to the summer solstice, with his feast day perfectly aligning with this celestial peak. And his defining philosophy was incredibly simple but profoundly deep. He must increase, but I must decrease. Just let that quote sit with you for a second. Think about how perfectly St. John's words mirrored the diminishing movement of the sun immediately following its midsummer peak. Right at the height of his own influence, recognizing a greater light, he willfully and intentionally steps back. So the crucial point is how this dynamic actually applies to our own pursuit of enlightenment. On one hand, you have enlightenment, receiving greater light, deeper knowledge, and increased power. But right there on the other side of the equation is responsibility, bearing greater humility and recognizing your own limits. The symbolism here is huge. The greater our knowledge becomes, the greater our humility should be. True wisdom produces humility, not pride. It acts as this constant check on the ego, reminding us that the more light we are given, the more responsibly we absolutely must act. Section 4. Balancing the two pillars. In the tradition, the lodge is fundamentally a place of balance. Just take a look at the dualities of nature we have here: light and darkness, strength and beauty, action and contemplation, knowledge and wisdom. The two solstices, summer and winter, represent the outer bounds of a cycle. They are here to remind us that extremes are never permanent. Summer always yields to winter. Day always yields to night. Nature is constantly, endlessly seeking equilibrium between these two columns. And the takeaway is super clear. If the universe demands balance between opposing forces to function properly, well, so do we. Section 5. Mastering the inner solstice. And this brilliantly illustrates how an observant individual actually takes these lofty cosmic lessons and applies them through practical daily habits. It's all about living what's called the middle way. Step 1. Govern passions, like literally just pausing before you react in a moment of anger. Step 2. Subdue ego, practicing active listening and real humility in your everyday conversations. Step 3. Balance labor with reflection, maybe taking just 10 minutes at the end of a crazy workday to sit and meditate. An observant person doesn't just run around acting constantly. They pair their action with deep contemplation of the symbols and lessons all around them. They actively strive to become a living embodiment of the harmony we see up in the heavens. Because let's be honest, just like the solar year, our lives have seasons. We all experience our own inner summer solstices, those periods of increasing light, major inspiration, and total spiritual clarity. But those moments aren't permanent. There is a deeply strategic purpose to these internal seasons of light. We are meant to use times of abundance to prepare for scarcity, and moments of certainty to prepare for doubt. The light is given to us not just so we can sit back and enjoy it in the moment, but so we can actively build our reserves and strengthen ourselves for the inevitable shadows of life. Which brings us to a critical moment of reflection in our explainer today. Nature flat out guarantees that hardship will return. That's a given. So the real question is, have we learned enough during the season of light to endure the season of darkness? I want you to really think about that for yourself. Are you using your personal high points, your moments of maximum clarity and success, just to bask in the sun? Or are you actively using them to build lasting internal resilience for the winter that will absolutely eventually come? To wrap up our journey today, we just have to remember that the summer solstice is so much more than the longest day of the year. It's a massive cosmic lesson. It teaches us that while the physical sun in the sky inevitably begins its descent the second it reaches its peak, our internal pursuit of light, balance, and humility, that is a continuous lifelong journey. The faithful must never cease their ascent toward truth. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder today. When the light in your life begins to fade, as it naturally will, what eternal principles have you built into your foundation that will keep you standing in the dark?